Well, it's that time. Time for me to put the block across the garage door opening. But in the meantime, what I can do is proceed with taking off this piece of trim for the door, taking off this outer trim, and I'll probably cut this down low. I'll give myself about 3 feet so I have room to work. I'll do that on both sides. That way I'm prepped for starting the block work. So God only knows how long these screws are holding this flagpole holder in. They could be 3 inches for all I know, which could make life a little challenging getting this off. So I'm going to remove the flagpole holder before I take the molding off. Yep, they're 3 inches, all right. Oh, I need a bit extender for that, but you get the point. Haha. Normally I would trim the caulk with a razor blade and be a little more careful, but this siding's going anyway, so. Normally I would score the caulk against the J-channel and be a little more careful and gingerly with it, but this siding's all going anyway, so if I damage it, no big deal. It's all scrap. Alright, we're getting there. Okay, so that's enough for tonight. It's getting dark. I don't think the neighbors want to hear a cement mixer running and me working into the wee hours of the evening. So that's ready to go. And on the next nice day we have, I will start bright and early and do the masonry work. But through the magic of editing, to you, it will look like it was the very next day. Okay, the day is finally here. I'm going to put down a course of blocks. But before I can do that, I got to get the garage door tracks out of the way, which is just by unbolting these brackets. Both sides. I already got the wood out of the way. I will wet the foundation so the cement sticks. Fire up the cement mixer and put down a course of blocks. I'm going to stretch up a string so that I have a nice straight line from point A to point B. But first things first, gotta get rid of these tracks. Okay, the garage door and the tracks are gone. Those will have to come down too, but we'll worry about that later. Right now, I want to get some cement mixing in the cement mixer and get this washed down clean. I'm gonna wet it so the cement sticks better. I'm gonna wash and wet the blocks so the cement sticks better to them. And we'll mix up a couple of bags of, I believe it's type N you want to use, but this said it's for blocks and whatnot as well. So if you don't see it saying what it's for, go with the N type. That's for putting block and brick together. So let me get started on that. And I'll set up my string, get my level out, get my masonry tools, and we'll get cracking. Here's a little trick I was taught. I actually used to do this with this thing running, which I scared the daylights out of me, but I lay the bag of concrete on, I take a razor knife or a trowel, cut an X, gently peel that back. I'm doing this with one hand because I'm holding the phone, and then pour it in. It would roll and tumble with the cement mixer, and I would already have some water in there. But I'm just trying to minimize how much dust comes back, because this stuff is not good to breathe. And this method minimizes it. It don't stop it entirely, but it helps. Okay, I need 2 minutes. You get the point. Well, I got the block laid and leveled. My first batch of cement was a little bit on the sloppy side, and then with the water on the floor and the water on the block and the water on my tools, it got real sloppy. So I'm mixing up some drier stuff for the second batch, and I'm filling in the gaps. I'm going to wind up plastering the whole thing so it matches the old foundation. But then after that, I'm going to take whatever used up concrete I have, and I'm going to fill in any gaps and holes. I don't want to fill all the holes if I don't have to, which I don't have to. But what I mean by that is I'm going to put some anchor bolts. And I've already got them set. So all I have to do is squish that down into the cement, twist it and settle it, and the block will hold it nice and flush for me as this concrete dries. And then I just undo the nut and the washer and take the block away, and it'll be ready to bolt down the plate. I guess I'll place them in one of these last 2 holes, somewhere in the middle, and one of those last 2 holes. I don't want it to end up under where a stud is going to be. And there's going to be a window in the middle of the wall here, so I'm going to space the studs out accordingly. And I don't know, maybe I'll quick measure out and lay out the wall so I know where my bolts will be most accessible. I didn't record myself laying the block because this is my first time laying block. I've always been the guy who handed the other guy the tools, mixed the cement, handed him the blocks, got him the string, checked for level, but I never actually laid the blocks. And that became apparently and abundantly clear as I was doing this. So I don't want to show you how to do something the wrong way. I think you could probably watch a mason who would show you how to lay block properly. I tried to butter one end and then stick it into place, butter one end, stick it into place. Then I came over here and did the other side, and then I was left with one block in the middle that I buttered on one side, put into place. It all fell out, and I've been jamming it in with a little trowel ever since. It wasn't pretty, but I think it's good enough for government work. We're doing this to match the height of the foundation. I think I may have mentioned it before, but a lot of people finish off a garage and they just put a pressure treated plate right down on the sill or the skirt. This gutter can and has filled up with leaves and overflowed. Water splashes here. It's actually a little bit downhill here. The garage floor tilts down towards this end, but then the blacktop kind of goes up a little bit. And there's actually almost like a gutter there that I think I may even fill in with concrete and just give it a gentle sweeping curve. We'll see how much I have left. I did all that with 2 bags, 3 bags, and I got 3 left. And like I said, I'm going to fill in a few of these squares to hold the anchor bolts. And I got to finish filling in like that over there. And then I guess I will water down a batch into real thin sloppy mud and use that to plaster the outside, so you don't see the pores in the concrete block anymore and it looks like the rest of the foundation. I don't see any seams in the blocks. I think they plastered it. So we'll do the same. Okay, I got my blocks laid. I got my anchor bolts in. 3 is probably severe overkill. I probably don't need any because this isn't load bearing, nor is it going to stop the house from blowing away in a storm. I got a bag of concrete left. I plastered everything and also smoothed it over to kind of make the water run out onto the driveway so it doesn't pool. Well, at any rate, I'm going to close up shop for tonight and let that dry. Okay, I'm back at the site. The cement's had 36 hours to dry. And I'm taking my blocks off. They've served their purpose. And the anchor bolts are anchoring. I think we're ready to start building a wall. Get this plywood off of here. I'll leave that middle one to hold it in place, so it'll be the last anchoring point. Okay, I got my plate measured in. I marked out the holes, drilled them, got the bolts on. They're snug, but they're not real tight. The guys who built the house initially were kind enough to leave this big ugly gap here. So I wrapped the foundation insulation, the polystyrene, under the block and up the wall. And then there's polystyrene above it that was original to the house on the plate. I don't know if you can see it better from back here. So that filled in that gap. Same thing over here. I brought it out to the same thickness as the plywood so that I'm not trying to play games with the plywood. It'll just be a nice straight cut for the plywood. And now I'm going to do a second plate of pressure treated wood. That'll make us just about level with the house plate. Not quite, but just about. And also help to spread the weight out, not that there is any, over the blocks. You know, it was a garage door, so there's a header up there. And that's going to dictate where the top of my window is going to be. I'm just going to build a wall from there to the header, and frame out from the header down for the window. And well, I'll show you that next. So I'm putting down the second plate. I picked a board that was straight laterally, but has a bit of a curve to it horizontally, which is no big deal because when I put the leg in on that side, the stud, and the leg in on this side, it's going to force it right down flat. I drilled oversized holes so that if I have to, I can get down there with a socket to tighten the nuts on the first plate. And I'm going to cut the studs and put them in place, frame out for the window opening, build a wall. Lock and load. Damn you, ice cream man. No respect. So I'm back. I was sick. I was on a little break, but I'm back, and I got pressure treated sheet of plywood up. I stuck a couple of screws between the concrete and the bottom plate just to hold it for me because I'm flying solo. And I threw a level on top, and it was perfectly level, and I nailed it. So this bottom sheet is pressure treated because it could be splashed. I could have cut it in half and just ran 2 feet. That would have been fine. But I figured I'll just leave the whole sheet. Now I'm going to cut some pressure treated for down here to fill in this little gap. And then up here will be non-pressure treated. Then I'm going to put tar paper over it. I guess I could have went with Tyvek, but I don't think they use Tyvek. Oh, I guess they did use Tyvek on the rest of the house. Maybe I'll go with Tyvek. At any rate, I'm going to coat it. I'm not going to cut out the window yet. For security purposes, I'm just going to leave it sealed up, let the inspector come, and then when I'm ready to do the finish work inside, I'll cut this out and put the window in. Or if I do the siding, whatever comes first. We'll see. We'll play it by ear. Okay, that's all sealed up. That's good enough till the inspector comes. I wound up using tar paper because it's what my customer had bought, so it was here. And, well, you gotta do what you gotta do sometimes. In the middle of nailing the plywood, my nail gun decided that it had nailed its last nail. I'm heartbroken. The funeral's tomorrow at 3 if anybody wants to come. But, again, life goes on. Here is a peek from the inside. And there is the window that I didn't cut out. I'm going to make that wiring go from not being in this wall to being in this wall. And then framing and electric is done and waiting for the inspector.